Good night, good night. Good night to Arangwe St. Joseph. Good night to our PNM family in Trinidad and Tobago. Good night to all of the citizens who want to join a movement that will do what is right for Trinidad and Tobago as we unify and write a new chapter. You are welcome to join us. I'd like to start my contribution tonight. My first contribution to a PNM public meeting in a general election as the 8th Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago in Arangwe St. Joseph. A constituency that I walked along with many hundreds yesterday to get a good feel and idea for Arangwe St. Joseph. Allow me to start by welcoming the newest member to the cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago that I lead, Minister Vishnu Dan Paul, our new Minister of Finance. To my other cabinet colleagues present, the Honorable Terence Dial Singh, Minister of Health, the Honorable Marvin Gonzalez, our newly minted Minister of National Security, our wonderful Minister in the Ministry of the Attorney General and Legal Affairs, Minister Renuka Sagram Singh Suklal, and sitting in front with us, our Minister of Social Development and Family Services, the Honorable Donna Cox. Outside was our Minister of Works and Transport, our Deputy Political Leader, the Honorable Rohan Sinanan. To all our party officers and members who are here, including Auntie Joan, and to all of our candidates who have selflessly put themselves forward on offer in 41 constituencies of Trinidad and Tobago so that every citizen who can vote has the opportunity to vote for the People's National Movement. I will ask that all candidates who are here present this evening stand so the public can see you. Trinidad and Tobago take a very, very close look because it is only the People's National Movement that can, within time, without controversy, and in a proper manner following our Constitution, present on a date well in advance of nomination date, 41 candidates in Trinidad and Tobago. And you look at the quality of the candidates who have offered themselves to serve Trinidad and Tobago. And tonight I want to congratulate a young lady who presented herself not too long ago to the People's National Movement and who I was proud to hear tonight in her debut speech to the population of Trinidad and Tobago in red and in PNM style, young Marisha Alvarado for Tabaquite. And I am proud to stand here as the chairman of the People's National Movement, as the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, and to tell the population, these are the quality citizens that the People's National Movement attracts. Marisha came forward on the last possible day we had for screening of Tabaquite. And with her, we found a tremendous candidate and one of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Tonight on this platform alone, you have seen the quality of what the People's National Movement has to offer. My friends, my family, my fellow citizens, we have some important decisions to make on April 28th. some very, very important decisions. The first decision every citizen who has the right to vote in Trinidad and Tobago has to make when you wake up on the 28th of April, because that's the day that counts. The first decision you have to make is to go and vote. Let us not take that for granted. Let us not take that for granted. So tonight, I start off by asking every citizen who cares about Trinidad and Tobago to go out and vote on the 28th of April. Don't stay home. Don't take anything for granted and say, well, I'm not voting. Because you see, in the past, some have made that mistake. And you led Trinidad and Tobago to the brink where we were almost destroyed. So for the future of our children, for the future of our country, for the future of the small ones that are here amongst us, the small ones that you've left at home, the small ones who must carry us forward, this is for them. So on the 28th of April, the first decision I ask for every citizen interested in Trinidad and Tobago, who wants to build Trinidad and Tobago, who wants to unify Trinidad and Tobago, who wants to write a new chapter for Trinidad and Tobago on a strong foundation, go out and vote. There are young people amongst us that ask the right questions. Young people in that category of 18 to 25 who may be disillusioned. They're asking, well, why should I vote? They're asking, but all politicians are the same. But the People's National Movement has presented 41 candidates that are not the same. We have shown in the last 10 years in building a strong foundation why we are the right choice. So to those young people and to those persons who are thinking of not voting, over the next 4 weeks, listen carefully to the compelling arguments, the sane and sober arguments, the sane and sober advocacy to you as to why the first thing you need to do on the 28th of April, Monday the 28th of April, is to go out and vote. Because every single vote counts. The second decision you have to make as you go to that voting booth is you have to decide who to vote for. You have to take a conscious decision as to what you are going to cast. Your constitutionally protected vote for which party. And that is a serious decision. Because that decision that we all take is going to decide the course of the future of Trinidad and Tobago. I am asking every citizen who wants a stable, caring, listening, strong, respected, experienced government to build Trinidad and Tobago and to unify us in Trinidad and Tobago and to write a new chapter for Trinidad and Tobago, to vote for the People's National Movement. Vote for Terence Dialsing in Arangwe, St. Joseph. Vote for Marvin Gonzalez in Aruca Lopino. Vote for Marisha Alvarado in Tabaquite. Vote for Renuka Sagram Singh Suklal in St. Augustine. Vote for me as your Prime Minister in Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West. Vote for Hans Devines for Diego Martin West. Vote for young Kareem Marcel in Laventille West. Vote for our other young candidates, Sean and Lena and all others, Adam, in the various constituencies. But listen to what you're voting for when you vote for the People's National Movement. You're voting for a government that cares. Don't listen to them saying we don't care. Because in caring, sometimes you have to take the hard decisions. But what we are going to do is to ensure that the limited and the growing resources go firstly to those who require it the most. Vote for a government that has the experience. Vote for a government that has proved itself. A government that has a Minister of Finance who has served in the Ministry of Finance at the highest levels longer than any Minister of Finance in Trinidad and Tobago, supporting many Ministers of Finance. Think about it. The Minister of Finance, the current one, has served under different governments, has served under different parties, and he still offered himself to service, offered himself to come back in Trinidad and Tobago, knowing the responsibility of carrying the Ministry of Finance over the next few years. And when you can attract quality people, the candidates that we have put forward, it says something. So come out and vote on the 28th for the People's National Movement. Under my leadership, I have made a call for unification, and I'm going to continue that call. I am making a call for inclusion. It is something that I will ensure that we do. I'm calling for all of us to work together. And that is why you have so many decent citizens, so many citizens who want what is better for Trinidad and Tobago, coming forward and willing to support the People's National Movement. But it is incumbent upon us, it's important for us, the members of the People's National Movement, to ensure that we come out and vote, because there are many who have never voted for us before that are pledging to come out and vote. And if we do that, and when we do that, we will be able to do what Marvin has asked for and get the requisite number of seats in the Parliament to form the next government. Under me, in the last few weeks and even before, under my leadership as the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, you would have seen that very consciously and strategically, I have immediately started to meet with important stakeholders. Meeting with people to listen. Meeting with people to decide how I am going to steer the ship of Trinidad and Tobago forward. Meeting with people, as you will see happening as I continue to go forward. Because I need to understand, and my government needs to understand, what are the things that need change and focus. Because we understand after 10 years of a strong foundation that we are about to write a new chapter. So the first thing I did was focus on education, because that is P&M policy. It is the People's National Movement that gave free education. But we recognize, and I recognize, that we need to change things in our education system and many other things that have remained as status quo for too long. So the first thing I did with the Minister of Education is ask the religious leaders of the denominational boards of the various schools across the country to come and meet with us, for me to understand what they think needs to change, for me to understand and also to get a commitment from them to work with this government to take the education system where it needs to go in a modern day. You also heard me say at the first post-cabinet press conference I held as the Prime Minister that the issue of foreign exchange and availability of foreign exchange is something that we are going to tackle. There is no easy solution. We have a lower foreign exchange. Ironically, I heard someone on a platform right here in Arangwe, St. Joseph, it's reported last night, talking about how is P&M that reduced the foreign exchanges in this country. The irony and the hypocrisy of that individual who almost single-handedly sunk where we earn foreign exchange from the energy sector. Do not forget that. That is an individual who could not negotiate more than one contract in energy. And the one contract they negotiated in 5 years continues to cost us billions of dollars in losses. Trinidad and Tobago, these are serious times. These are the things you need to consider when making that decision to come out and to vote for us. So we tackle the foreign exchange. You saw the Minister of Finance and the Minister in the Ministry of Finance, Brian Manning and myself, meet with the Central Bank, the Bankers Association, and all of the heads of the banks to tell them that we need to find a way for the average citizen to get that priority access to foreign exchange. That when they walk into the bank and they ask for that money to go on their vacation, to see their grandchildren, to send for their children wherever they may be, to pay for medicine, etc., they have to be given an allocation and a first priority. We also, in that meeting, took on the conversation about bank charges and fees, because we all know about bank charges and fees. So when you hear this stupid talk from those on the other side, trying to say that your prime minister is somebody who is fighting for the big business, it is actions, it is not words. And I have no fear that you will make the right decision. Because you see, I have been walking for the last 10, 11 years, I have been walking, and I do not have a fear to walk anywhere in Trinidad and Tobago. So I've been walking throughout Trinidad in the past few months, and I'm heading to Tobago to walk. And that is to meet our citizens on their doorstep. That is to meet our citizens, as I did in Ikwese yesterday, waiting after school and work to get transport to go home. And you know why that is important for me? Because it allows me to understand firsthand what are some of the issues taking place. And not to depend on people who will send a report upwards and maybe manipulate the report so you don't properly understand. So you think about it. You have a choice in a leader who is going to walk all over Trinidad and Tobago, meeting the people on their doorstep. And I look in the crowd and I see many who walk with me. Many who walked yesterday, many who walked in the week before. And I'm asking you to join me as I continue to walk. Because you have a leader who could walk after a full day's work. You have a leader who could come off a plane at midnight, having dealt with state issues, having dealt with the Secretary of State in Jamaica, come off a plane close to midnight, go home, shower and sit down and do cabinet notes till 3 o'clock in the morning, go and lead a cabinet, go and report to the population with a post-cabinet, and then put on my walking shoes, my red shirt, and go and meet the people. So I ask all those who want to come and fight me for leadership of Trinidad and Tobago, can you do that? Can she do that? Can they do that? You have a leader who not standing up with their phone like this. You have a leader who not standing up telling lies on a post. Trinidad and Tobago, those are the choices that we have to make. I, Stuart Richard Young. I, Stuart Richard Young, am here to serve the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I, Stuart Richard Young, give you the commitment that I will fight for Trinidad and Tobago. And I have shown over the last few years that I am fearless in my fight for Trinidad and Tobago. Because you see, I am not intimidated by anyone. I am not intimidated by the big oil and gas companies that want to take our resources. And you have seen under the tenure of my predecessor, and I'd like to thank him tonight, Dr. Rowley. Thank Dr. Rowley. You have seen under his tenure, with my support and me going to the front line, what we've done in the energy sector. And people may say, well, how is that affecting me? It is the money from the energy sector that built the community center. It's the money from the energy sector that keeps the lights on. It is the money from the energy sector that pays for the education for that little girl right there. It is the money. I come into the pensions tonight because they're lying about that too. So citizens, I present myself here to you as the 8th Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, asking that you continue to keep a PNM government in power on the 28th. And I have given you my commitment that I will work and I will fight for Trinidad and Tobago. This didn't start overnight. I got in frontline politics 11 years ago as a temporary opposition senator. And I don't think people understand that, you know. Because when you're in opposition, the only thing you could have is 6 opposition senators. And when you decide to stand up out of a good profession, whatever you may be, you leave your job and present yourself, you know that you're putting yourself on the line. So 11 years ago, when I presented myself with pride, and I thank you, the PNM, for taking me and welcoming me and giving me the opportunities to have the experience I have today, to be where I am, to work for you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I had already been fighting. Because anybody who knows what I did as a lawyer, I fought for the unions. I fought for the unions of Trinidad and Tobago for better conditions for the workers. But you see, I am not one that has ever boasted about what I do. That is not in my nature. But I took to the courts to fight for the unions. Go and ask the steel workers. If Ansel Roger would tell the truth, which may be difficult, Ansel Roger would tell Trinidad and Tobago that when Kamla Prasad Bissessar wanted to bust his throat as the PG of OWTU, I did the matter for him. When I fought the cases for the CWU and for the steel workers and other unions, I fought because I believed in the workers' rights. I remember with great pride going into court on a Friday night to fight senior counsel for the company. And senior counsel earning over $1 million fee on brief. And junior counsel earning $1 million. And the instructing attorney is another $1 million. And you know, me and my junior, when the union said, we can't pay you $15,000, we need to have a barbecue, you know what we said? You're mad or what? I enjoy the fight. And that is what I did for them. And that is what I did for the workers. When I walked Trinidad and Tobago, as I did in RUNG St. Joseph yesterday, there are workers who are part of the CWU, as I met at his gate yesterday, who called me and said, comrade, I from the CWU. And I remember when you took TSTT Wicket and you got all of us workers at a cost of $300 million plus. I won that case for the workers. And my argument in the court was, well, if the executives at the top could get bonus and they could get this and they could get that, the workers deserve what the workers deserve. So I fought. I fought many cases as a lawyer for persons who couldn't afford a lawyer. for persons who were the subject of domestic violence, medical negligence, and other matters. I only tell this story today so you will get a better understanding of the person who is offering himself to serve you. Because you see, every citizen has to choose who you want to lead Trinidad and Tobago. You need to decide if you want a fighter, someone who will work to build Trinidad and Tobago, someone who will fight for more money for our children in Trinidad and Tobago, take on the fight and the revenue fight with the oil and gas companies as I did. Someone who is young, someone who is energetic, someone who is patriotic, someone who is willing to engage and to listen and to then formulate policy for all. Or you could choose someone who cannot meet you. Someone who can't come on the ground and walk. Someone who can't tell you her plans. Someone who doesn't understand the energy sector, because you would recall in a budget debate, did not even know the shareholding of Atlantic LNG, which is one of the most important institutions and companies in our energy sector. And someone who has already shown us how 5 years under the UNC could almost destroy a country. That is the choice that you have to make. That is the choice you have to make as to whether there will be allegations that $16 billion in cash go missing from the NGC, as opposed to someone. I am proud to stand before you tonight and tell you, because of the battles that I fought with the support of my predecessor, Dr. Rowley, and my cabinet colleagues, was able to get for Trinidad and Tobago $19 billion that we would not have gotten if I didn't take on that fight. So you have one who take 14, you have one who bring 19. It was yesterday. Yesterday I was walking in RUNG, St. Joseph, with your Member of Parliament, Minister Diyal Singh. And I met a young man right there in his home at the gate. He's a UE student. And he said, tell me why I should vote. He said, I don't feel to vote. He said, there is no reason for me to vote. And I stood up right there at his gate and took the time to explain to this young man why he needs to vote. And that we understand the difficulties for the youth. And that is why we have a ministry under Minister Cummings for youth development and national service. And we have our Ministry of Education and others. But you see, I appreciate and understand there's a whole set of young people who we've spent a lot of money on training, and they're young professionals who are having difficulty getting jobs. And I understand that because I am able to go everywhere and talk to people. And I engaged that young man. And by the time I told him why it was important for him to vote, the same way I'm asking you tonight, the conversation ended with him saying, I'm convinced I'll go and vote. And I had one ask of him. Ask of him. I said, when you go to school at UE, talk to your fellow students and encourage them to vote as well. There was another one as we walked along the roadway that stopped me. Minister Diyal Singh was with me. A young man, he said, I've left the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force. I've decided to become an actor. I'm becoming an actor in England. And I don't think there's enough for us here in Trinidad and Tobago. And I want a house. And I need this. And I've never voted. Tell me why I must vote. Tonight, Trinidad and Tobago, and that young man, I want to unveil another one of my plans for Trinidad and Tobago. Tonight, right here in RUNG, St. Joseph, I have taken a decision to tell Trinidad and Tobago, through you, one of the plans for the government that is going to be there under the People's National Movement on the 29th of April. I intend to establish a council of young artists, entertainers, writers, and cultural leaders to bring their experience, their vision, their passion, their talent, their patriotism to help the PNM government under me to develop the art and culture sector for us as part of diversification. Because we have tremendous talent, and you see, if we harness that, we have a carnival, we have a steel band, we have our parties, we have that whole entertainment industry, we have artists that are unlike any in the world. I intend to harness that, to work with them, to form a council, and I'm going to establish the Art and Cultural Innovation Council to work with us, to bring their innovative ideas, because they're exporting it. Trinidad and Tobago exports our carnival. It starts in Toronto, in Notting Hill, in Miami, all throughout the islands. We need to find a way for our young, talented people, because not everybody is an academic, to find a way to turn that into hundreds of millions of dollars of foreign exchange. And these are the plans that I can present to you and will be presenting to you. I don't need to stand up in a hall and say, I don't have time tonight to tell you a plan. I don't need to tell you, well, let me talk about that another time. I could go anywhere, engage anyone, and have a sensible conversation at any hour of the day or night. So look forward to it. We are going to establish an Art and Cultural Innovation Council for that whole new movement of young people who know how to monetize this industry. And you have a government that's going to be committed to that as part of our diversification plan. Don't underestimate it and the amount of money it can earn, but also offering hope to young people who are interested in our arts, culture, and entertainment. Another issue I'd like to spend some time tonight addressing, and is unfortunate, but it's necessary. There's a very important issue that affects our senior citizens. It is an issue that, unfortunately, those who would like to lead Trinidad and Tobago are once again trying to mislead our senior citizens about. This is a matter of pensions. This is a matter of our pensions that we have, our senior citizen pension in Trinidad and Tobago. You saw yesterday at post-cabinet press conference, I had to come back and deal with this lie that the opposition were telling, that we were registering Venezuelans to vote, and how easily I was able to put that to rest because it's a lie. Well, I am standing here tonight as the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, and as someone who intends to lead this government on the 29th of April for another term as Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. And I am telling the population, especially our senior citizens, we are not interfering with your pensions. We are not going to change your pensions. Your pensions are safe under the People's National Movement. So don't let people who are desperate to get their hands on the money in the treasury introduce fear into our senior citizens. I am telling you here tonight, as the Prime Minister, we are not touching your pensions and your senior citizens' pensions. You all remember in 2023, the UNC just introduced a concept. We're going to introduce the PNM inheritance tax. And they just start to put ads up everywhere. PNM going to have inheritance tax. There's another lie. We never had any plan to introduce inheritance tax, and we are not interfering with your pensions. We are not introducing new requirements that if you have X amount in your bank account, you can't get your pension. In fact, let me tell you something about the UNC. Under them, they didn't increase the pensions for you. But this PNM government increased pensions from 4,500 to 5,500. 110,000 recipients are provided with the senior citizens pension. Under the UNC, persons who are also receiving an NIS pension could only get a maximum senior citizens grant of $1,500. So don't let them lie to you and fool you. This government, Minister Cox, paid our senior citizens their pension on time, every time during COVID. Other countries in the world couldn't pay their civil servants, couldn't pay salaries. We not only did that, we made sure that senior citizens got their pension on time. We also increased tax allowance. You ask, well, what's tax allowance? If you were earning over $5,000, you have to pay tax. This government took a decision to raise that ceiling to $7,500. 200,000 citizens and workers got the benefit of that, meaning that if you're in that bracket of $7,500 and under, you don't pay tax, so you get more money in your pocket. So these are the things that we do as a responsible government. Another area I stand here tonight to say that as Prime Minister I intend for the government to focus on is the area of customer service in the public service. Customer service in the public service is going to get focus. Because you see, all of our citizens who need to go into a government office and you need to line up and you need to ask for your birth certificate, or you need to pay a bill, or you need to get a grant, or you need to get access to disability grants, or you need to go and register for your pension, we, as the next government, are going to focus heavily on customer service. We must allow our citizens, when you walk in, you get treated with kindness, you get treated with respect, you get treated with a more helpful attitude. We must change the culture that it is, you can't do that. Okay, well, if I can't do it this way, what is the solution? Tell me how I could do it. And because it's a two-way street, so I'm putting you on notice. We, the citizens, have to treat the public servants with respect, with kindness. Because you know the saying, if you smile, somebody will smile back at you. You treat somebody good, they will treat you well as well. So under the next government, customer service is going to be a big issue. And we've started the digitization. That is going to make it a lot easier. I told Minister Bacchus and his Ministry of Digital Transformation the other day, your incubation period done. You're a new ministry, you're a ministry now. So get ready under me that I want everything achieved. Because then they can't tell you, I lose your file. They can't say, well, I lost the form. They can't ask you, well, what's your name and address? It will all be there. And that ties into the other thing that I said we are going to have, that there seems to be, there's not confusion, mischief about. The Ministry of Implementation and Efficiency is going to happen. It's not going to be a big ministry. So don't let them fool you about why you need another ministry to get things that should be done. I did it. Out of the office of the Prime Minister, the minister in the office of the Prime Minister, that is what Dr. Rowley used, one of the things he used to have me doing. When we needed to get a project done, the minister in the office of the Prime Minister, me, had the ability to go where I needed to go and to get behind the red tape in a legal manner. So when I said that and I saw persons trying to throw shade on it and talk about all kind of concepts taking place in other countries, that's not it. I am standing here and telling the people of Trinidad and Tobago, we will have a Ministry of Implementation and Efficiency with the right minister there, with a small staff, not to change the law, not to change how we operate, but to get things done. Because that is what we need. We cannot afford to lose the opportunities. We are competing with other countries for opportunities. Listen, in deciding who you're voting for, you have a government, a PNM, that has policy and plans. You have a prime minister who will continue laying out the plans and our vision for the future, versus you have someone and a party on the other side. Don't be fooled. They are only interested in getting their hands on your money and taking it for themselves. As I told you, they didn't negotiate a single energy contract. I'll talk about energy in the next few days, not tonight. But the one that they negotiated is still costing us billions of dollars, and that hurts me. It hurts me as a citizen because they are incompetent. They are not focused. So you have that versus what you have standing in front of you. This week, a few days ago, today is Friday, on Wednesday, I had to go and represent Trinidad and Tobago and the CARICOM. I had to jump on a plane and go to Jamaica because the Secretary of State of the United States, Marco Rubio, invited me as the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago to come for a bilateral meeting. Fortunately, as I told the country yesterday, it was an excellent meeting. It was a meeting where the experience, the soberness, the ability to advocate and negotiate, the ability to do what is right for Trinidad and Tobago was able to shine in the room. And I thank you for giving me that opportunity. But you know what we need to know and what we need to focus on? Whilst I was doing that, whilst I was preparing with the Trinidad and Tobago team to go and meet with Secretary of State Rubio in something that is going to potentially decide the future of Trinidad and Tobago and the CARICOM, a meeting as important as that, the opposition had a press conference in the Leader of the Opposition's office. And the member, a frontline member of the opposition, went before the media, went before the country, broadcast it on social media. And you know what was one of his messages? Whilst your government and whilst I was fighting for Trinidad and Tobago, well, the US ain't going to take on Young. Well, the US are going to sanction Young. Young does only meet with Maduro. Rowley is Rowley and Young. That is no laughing matter. Because you see, that type of behavior is what the opposition has to offer. If you know that your government is going there to fight for Trinidad and Tobago in difficult circumstances, why would you go and try and change the narrative to a negative narrative? It's not going to affect Stuart Young, you know. Because you remember that same opposition wrote to the United States government and asked for Rowley and Young to be sanctioned. You remember that? Well, look how God smiled on us. Because despite all that they did, the credibility that this government has, the hard work that we have put in, the conversations that we have had with whoever is in government in the United States, led to us having that opportunity of a meeting with Secretary Rubio. But Trinidad and Tobago pay careful attention to the attitude of those who want to destroy Trinidad and Tobago. Those who have at every stage attacked all that is being done that is good for the future of Trinidad and Tobago. It didn't work, thank God. And it will not work. And that is another reason why on the 28th of April, all who want what is right for Trinidad and Tobago have to vote for the People's National Movement. So compare and contrast. You wait, you look at it, you study it. You have two leaders. You make your decision. I put myself forward. I put myself forward to serve. I am the people's servant. I put myself forward, willing to listen, willing to make the time to engage, willing to walk, willing to put my energy, my focus, my attention to build Trinidad and Tobago. To get down as I did yesterday right here in RUNG, where's St. Joseph. To stand up before you on every occasion with accountability and transparency and report to you, the citizens, because I understand and have always understood that it is the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago that give us the privilege to serve you. But on the other hand, you have someone who came right here around where St. Joseph, right here in the last 24 hours. And when being asked by citizens about plans and how you're going to deal with foreign exchange and how you're going to deal with young people who don't have jobs, said without a worry in the world, smiling, smirking, and laughing at you, I don't have time, I'm not ready to tell plans. It is because you don't have plans. Around where St. Joseph, Trinidad and Tobago, I've spent the last 9.5 years serving in your government. The last 9.5 years serving in a number of different portfolios. Minister in the Ministry of the Attorney General and Legal Affairs, like Renuka. Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister. Minister of Communication, Minister of National Security, Minister of Energy, and now as your Prime Minister. And you know what that has given me? Thanks to you, it has given me the experience to do what is right for Trinidad and Tobago. It has given me the experience, and I say this without fear of contradiction, more experience than some who serve in Parliament for 20, 30 years who now want to be Prime Minister again. And you can measure it in real and tangible terms, what I have been able to deliver to Trinidad and Tobago in those 9.5 years, to you. We have a strong foundation, and it is time now to allow us, along with you, join us. Let us unify. Let us go forward with unity. Join me, join the PNM team, because it is a team. We can only do it as a team. But join us and let us write a new chapter for Trinidad and Tobago. Let us manage what is ahead of us. There will be good times, there will be difficult times. There will be hard decisions to make. It is not about just standing up and saying, I will give you this and I'll give you that. Over the next few weeks, I will tell you in a sober, sane, and proper manner what are some of the things that this government is going to continue to do for you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, as I've done tonight. You will understand the focus, the fight, and what I am determined to do along with the PNM team and their support to write a new chapter for Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you for your attention tonight. And stand by and get ready as we write the new chapter for Trinidad and Tobago. And I look forward to welcoming all who want to build us, Trinidad and Tobago, on a strong foundation, to join Team PNM at Balizé House on April 28th, after you've cast your vote for us, and for us to say together in unison, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, and we have prevailed. I thank you. I thank you.